Let's get straight to the point. This is the MG4 XPower and it costs 160,000 ringgit. Now the range starts off at about 104,000 ringgit, but we are not here to discuss that today. Today, we are here to experience an EV that goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about the same time as a Ferrari F430. And if you ever wondered what progress in performance looks like, well, it looks like this. So, we're here to answer the question for today. If you're in the market for something that goes like stink, looks like nothing else compared to other EVs on the road even, and has a relatively iconic badge to go with it, is the MG4 XPower your next perfect car? Let's find out. Now, while the headline is all about the performance, let's not forget about how striking the MG4 XPower looks as well. And this is considering it does stand out amongst other EVs, which they themselves look pretty out there too. In any case, up front, I would say it looks quite angry, what with its sharp LED headlights and almost sharp beak-like design. And over down here, we've got an active grille system for hopefully, better range due to a lower drag coefficient. And then moving on to the sides, we get 18-inch Cyclone alloy wheels and orange brake caliper covers. Moving on to the rear, and this is the showstopper right here. So we get an LED light bar that stretches across the entire length, which is fairly common in modern cars, but this comes with an illuminated X pattern motif here, which makes it stand out a little bit more. And I reckon it can be a bit much, but there is no doubt people are going to be staring at this rear end all the time. And then you get to this, the twin aero spoiler. Yes, also can be argued that it is a bit much, but with this being the full-on performance version, I think it's acceptable. It's a good match. No power tailgate, but it is what it is. So if just pop open the boot, we get 398 liters of space, which is decent, especially when you compare it to the BYD Dolphin that gives you 345 liters in this configuration. It's more than enough for me to easily fit a 20 and 24-inch suitcase inside, side by side. Yeah, fits just about right. And if you need more space, you can always fold down the 60/40 seats for 1,177 liters of space. But in that aspect, the Dolphin outguns it with 1,310 liters of space. Oh, if you need to store anything like shoes or whatever, there's also this nifty underfloor boot space that you can do so. Now, stepping inside, the first thing that comes to mind is normal. And that can be a good thing because it means it's easy to get used to, it's not overwhelming. But I feel that after the drama of the exterior, it can be a little bit dreary. I mean, yeah, okay, you get steel sports pedals and you do get a bit of Alcantara inserts on the leather seats in this XPower variant, but all in all, it's quite muted. Alright, straight ahead, we've got a 2-spoke steering wheel, which feels quite nice in hand. We also get tilt and telescopic adjustment, so that's good. Finding the right driving position is also fairly easy. You get powered seats, 6-way, only for the driver. Now, looking ahead, the instrument cluster is a 7-inch digital unit, which might take a while to get used to, but at least it's bigger than the 5-inch unit seen in the BYD Dolphin. Now, if you really want to compare the Dolphin and the XPower head-to-head, you can always head on to WapCar.my to do so. Infotainment-wise, we get a 10.25-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so all is well. And then you see buttons, physical buttons, which is good. You even see an aircon button here, but it's not the whole picture because it only used to toggle the interface to bring up the aircon setting. Adjusting it is still done on screen. And if you're using Apple CarPlay, you have to go back to the home screen to actually tap on the aircon settings and then scroll to adjust your fan speed or whatnot. Either that or you press this button to turn off the aircon system and then turn it on again to adjust the settings. It's just really too much of a hassle. Down below, the floating center console houses a wireless charger and a rotary gear selector, which frankly I'm not a fan of, but at least it frees up storage space. So what do we get below that? We've got a USB-A port, USB-C port, we've got a 12-volt socket, and then we've got 2 cup holders followed by a pretty large storage tray, and there's also a net for you to store trinkets that might otherwise be sliding about. And then the center armrest opens up to, okay, this is a bit of a weird one. Opening is big enough, but it narrows into a small chamber. So that's that. What I don't quite like as well is that there are no cutouts on the door for your touch and goes, access cards and whatnot. But saving grace is that the side door bins easily fit a half-liter water bottle and then some. At the back, things can feel a little bit claustrophobic because of the dark headliner, but actual space is decent, I would say. It's decent. So with the front seat adjusted to my driving position, for reference, I'm 184 centimeters tall. I have one tennis ball worth of legroom and one and a bit tennis ball worth of headroom. What I can appreciate is that there's a bit of a cutout here. Not sure if you can see on the camera, but there is a cutout for the occupants at the back, so that's quite a nice feature. Seat base, it's a bit short, could use a little bit more support, but you know, such is life, right? One area where it falls behind the Dolphin is that at the back, we only get one USB-A port versus the Dolphin, which gives you one A and one Type-C port. We also don't have a center armrest, so no cup holders here. We do have seat pockets, which is nice, but another cool feature is that each seat has a pair of these phone pockets, so you can stash your phone or you know whatever electronic gizmos inside. Then we get cutouts on the door handle, or rather the door cards here, to stash cards and whatnot, but the door bins can't fit a water bottle. Right, on the move, so let's get the tech specs out of the way first. 2 electric motors for a total of 435 horsepower and 600 Newton meters of torque to all 4 corners for a 0 to 100 time of 3.8 seconds. And it's also the only variant, the XPower that is, to get launch control because why not, right? Battery size is 64 kilowatt hour with a quoted range of 385 kilometers. Not the best, but that is the price you pay for performance. In any case, charging time, AC charging at 7 kilowatt takes about 8.5 hours to go from 10 to 80% state of charge, while DC charging at 135 kilowatt takes about 26 minutes. Impressive numbers, but how does it all stack up in the real world? Well, in terms of performance, more than enough. In fact, if you need any more in the real world, you're insane, okay? That's just plain facts right there. What I feel like I need to highlight is actually the ride comfort, or rather the lack of it. You see, the XPower variant gets stiffer springs and dampers for a sportier drive, so it understood the assignment, yes. But this isn't exactly the best recipe for everyday driving, and coupled to the 18-inch wheels, the ride can get a bit jarring over some uneven surfaces or even smaller potholes. At highway speeds, NVH levels are up to par for an EV in this class. According to WapCar's own testing, at 110 km per hour, we recorded a figure of 64 decibels versus the Dolphin, which got 65 decibels. So it's not a terrible cruiser, but it's not the best either. Now the ride itself, the ride is on the firm side and it never quite settles, so long undulating roads can induce some pretty intense bouncing. But when you decide to drive the MG4 XPower a little bit harder, it's actually a pretty decent car. I mean, yeah, okay, the steering has been retuned in the XPower variant, but it's still quite dead in feel, to be honest. That aside, this thing is a proper A to B weapon because coming out of a corner, you just plant your foot, it digs in, and it slingshots out. Then with safety kit, it's quite comprehensive with the MG Pilot Suite. So what do we get? We get AEB, ACC with traffic jam assist, lane keep assist and departure warning, lane change assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and even a door opening warning. Now mind you though, the last 3 are found on all but the standard variants, so just have that in mind. Well, the MG4 XPower. So then, how did it stack up against the competition, and is it worth 160,000 ringgit? Okay, if you want something with outlandish looks, a stupid amount of power, and you won't be driving it every day over rough surfaces, basically a weekend toy, then yes. But if you ask me, the sensible variant to go for would be the extended range model. Here's why. It's 10 grand cheaper, you still get more than enough power for the everyday run, over 500 kilometers of quoted range, and you get the same spaceship looks. It just makes more sense if you want a city EV that's still, more special than the rest. So yeah, that would be my pick. And on that note, I think it's time we call it a day. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, drive safe, take care.
Okay.